Good evening. My name is Vince Noblet, President of the Speedway Redevelopment Commission. Today is July 17, 2017. It's 6 p.m. I want to call to order our regularly scheduled session of the Redevelopment Commission. I'll start off with a roll call. Bill Jones.
Here.
Tom Popcheff.
Here.
Gordon Rundle.
Here.
Rhonda Schwartz.
Here.
And also in attendance is Dr. Terry Reed. Thank you. And we've got also our Executive Director, Tim. Thank you for putting this all together again. Next on the agenda is public comment. Anybody in the audience that would wish to speak to the commission, please step forward and state your name, if you'd like. Seeing none, I'll move on. Next is the consent of executive session minutes from June 19th, 2017. These minutes have been previously distributed to the commission. If there's no changes or corrections, they will be approved as submitted. Hearing none, they're approved. Next is the approval of our regular session minutes on June 19th. These minutes have previously been submitted to the commission. If there's no changes or corrections, they will be approved as submitted. Hearing none, they're approved. Next is the approval of claims and expenses for the commission. These expenses have been submitted to the commission. We reviewed the expenses. If there's any questions or concern, please feel free. Tim?
A couple quick notes. The amount is significantly higher than we're normal to seeing on the everyday expenses. Several of those are related to our semi-annual bond payments. So we received our TIF draw in June. Our bond payments are always due in July and January. So we get draws in June and December. So majority of the expenses this time are bond payments. So we get the TIF money and we pass it through to the trustee and it goes directly out for our bond payments.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other questions for Tim or anybody related to the expenses? Okay, do I have a motion for approval of claims?
I'll make a motion that we approve the claims as submitted.
I'll second that.
You got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the claims? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All is in favor?
Aye.
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 Motion carries 5-0. Project updates. Tim, can you
Sure.
give us a update on what's happening out in Speedway?
Absolutely. The first one is the Wilshaw project. It should be noted that as per their economic development agreement, they have two options to extend the closing deadline. We received the request for the first option that pushes it out. We were hoping to close in July. This pushes it out to August 9th as we continue to finish up all the due diligence items that are out there. Part of that was receive a payment, and we did receive that payment. That goes towards the closing costs when it finally does close. We're hoping, to try and get done by August 9th. If not, they do have an option to push it into September. We're hoping it doesn't go there, so we'll keep you posted on that. Everything is going along. We're making progress. We're able to close out some IDEM wells that are on the site. We had a really productive meeting with Praxair, and we have sent all the legal documents for easements and agreements to utilities that need to be moved that service Praxair. As you probably are aware, that used to be Praxair property, so there's a lot of utilities that go through there that serve Praxair when it was their property. So all that has kind of been agreed upon, but now it's in the hands of attorneys at their corporate office, so we're waiting on that. Let's see. Those are the main items on there, and we'll keep you posted as that continues forward. Speedway Marketplace, as you hopefully saw, get-go in the corner is going up quickly and will probably be ready to go in the next month or so. Also, they have started construction on the Courtyard by Marriott, and They also, the D1 Sports will be having their grand opening in mid-August. They're shooting for a ribbon cutting celebration the weekend of August 18th. That's somewhat pending any construction that might be not quite completed, but it looks like it's on schedule. We'll follow up, but they've asked for us to get the word out as best as possible. So we're actually going to take the lead on that one and get a press release together and keep pushing it out because they want to see the community celebrate that they're there. We got to do a tour of the D1 Sports, and just D1 is a franchise, but this is the only one in Indiana. It caters to athletes that are looking to play at the next level. So there's actually several aspects to this facility. One of them is a training facility, sports medicine, if you will. Then there's the D1 part that's focused on sports training, and then there's also basically Jeff Teague basketball type run camps in there as well. So the Teague family has put a huge investment in this community. It's a great asset up there by the interchange, and we're excited for it to come. So,
How many courts are they in there? Do you know?
if I remember, there's 5 or 6. If I remember correctly.
Right.
I think so. Don't quote me on that, but it was quite a few. The back end was all basketball courts. So, it'll be a really nice facility. And then the courtyard will actually complement it very well because those athletes will come in and have a place to stay. And I was actually at the Jacob and I tried to eat at the Chipotle the other day and couldn't get in. There was no parking. We had to park over by the Burger King, and then the line was too long, so it's a great problem to have. So
Wow.
that development's I took pictures because the lot was full and there was overflow, so we're excited that development's doing really well.
Fantastic. Thanks on that. What do we got on the Brixmore Shopping Center?
Continue to meet with them. We're hoping by this time that demolition had started. There was a slight delay on some approvals of the planning documents for the new structures near Kohl's. As you may recall, the vacant shopping center portion where they moved Subway and the GameStop is all getting demoed, and they're replacing that with some smaller boxes. Excuse me. So we feel we've gotten through that process. There was a possible variance, and they revised the plan to avoid that variance. So we think we're ready to go now. Hopefully we see demo anytime. They've done some remediation to get ready for that demo, and hopefully that gets going, and we'll see construction here shortly.
2500 High School.
2500 High School, we continue to do due diligence on the parcel and be ready for development when that time comes. So we're tracking down some of the documents that are kind of scattered everywhere, some of the old the documents that would have been done, as well as anything from IDEM or that INDOT might have regarding the purchase of properties in that area. So we have it all ready to go. When we do select a developer, we're able to hand them a lot of information right out of the box. So we want to make that process as smooth as possible. So anything we can do on our end prior to having a developer on the board, we're trying to get that done and organized because we have it. It's just a matter of where it all is and putting it together in a simple packet. So we've had a lot of interest. I've talked to 6 or 7 different development groups that have some interest in the parcels. We're just waiting back. They've had follow-up questions and follow-up due diligence that we've been working on. So we haven't gotten the proposals yet, but a lot of interest, and we're hoping to have a few proposals coming in here anytime so we can make a decision and figure out that's when the real work actually starts. So.
Right.
Yeah.
And what we got? 22 acres there.
There's about 23 acres, and then some. There's obviously obstacles in there. So developable acres will be less than 23, but we currently have about just over 23 acres right there at the interchange. So.
Okay. Good.
We did also, sorry, one more side note on
Okay, go
that.
ahead.
We did have a good meeting last week with INDOT and the new director of the Department of Public Works for Marion County, Indianapolis, and discussed that intersection in particular at High School and Crawfordsville Road is owned and managed by DPW, Speedway. So there's some timing issues there we're aware of. So NDOT and their director are going to take a look at that and try and fix some of those issues.
So DPW doesn't have control of the intersections along Crawfordsville Road? I mean, like Lyndhurst?
It's actually there's an agreement in place for maintenance.
Okay.
Yeah, but that particular intersection is operated by them.
Okay.
So.
I'll let the public know about what's going on Gilman in terms of the dirt pile. If they see dump trucks going up and down the street or whatever.
Well, we're hoping that dump trucks will be going down the street soon. So we have a significant dirt pile that's in the parcel that the SRC still owns behind Delara. And we found some groups that are interested in taking some of that dirt for us. It has been tested and it's clean dirt, so they're able to use it for backfill, for demos and things like that. So we're hoping we don't have to pay to remove that dirt. That is our last developable parcel in that area. So we'd like to get something building there, but we can't really do anything until all that dirt's removed. So we found a couple groups that have interest in taking some of that dirt. There's an excavator on site. Just hasn't been doing a lot of work yet. So we're hoping that soon those groups can come and take some of that dirt away from us and use it, and then we can get that site cleaned up. In the interim, we need to also do our standard environmental testing on that so we can be ready to sell that parcel when the time comes to a prospect.
Perfect. Any other questions for Tim?
No.
Hearing none, I'll move on to I guess a director's report, so if you get anything else that...
I added this to the agenda because I like talking a lot. I thought we talk about the projects that we can talk about. There's obviously a lot of other projects that are in the background being negotiated or looked at that we can't talk about, but being a small town and small department staff, we're working on a lot of other things, so I thought it'd be a good opportunity to just put some of those out and let the public know that we're working on a lot more than just these specific projects. So a couple announcements on that. One of them was actually the D1 Sports, so I jumped the gun on it. The other one is just a note that with the parking restrictions will be in place starting this weekend for the Brickyard 400. The SRC does own several lots around IMS, so we'll be using our partners at the high school, in particular the band boosters and the robotics club, to help us park for the Brickyard this weekend as well on Saturday and Sunday. It's been a good partnership. Our lots, which include the Wilshaw lot at Main and 16th, as well as the Zellman lot, which is across the street, and the triangle next to Speedway, will be open and available for free parking Friday night on the Hauler Parade. So if you're looking for somewhere to be able to park for the Hauler Parade from 4:30 to 8 Friday night, you can use those lots free of charge.
I think it'd be a good idea to put sandwich boards or something out there to notify the public to get them in. Is anybody going to help parking or organize the parking?
We'll definitely
Maybe
look
get a
at
couple
that.
Lions to help out on that.
Yeah, and you will only be able to access the Wilshaw lot, which is 16th and Main on 16th Street. You will not be able to access it from the Main Street entrance, so that will be blocked off. So note that as well, but there's plenty there. Also want to note that there's a ribbon cutting scheduled next Tuesday for tacos and tequila. So we're excited for that one to finally open. There was a slight delay, but I think we're getting closer. That's at 11 o'clock next Tuesday, not this Tuesday. And then also let you know that we are working. We are aware that our website is very much out of date, and there's been a group that's been working on that, and we've continued that process. We're at the process now that we're close to having design firmed up, and we'll be working on content and coding. We won't be coding it ourselves, but we're excited to get that up and going, because we definitely need some new marketing material, and we definitely need a fresh look on our website. So we're excited that that's moving forward as well. The only other note is that we did receive our TIF draw, and it was in excess of our bond payments, so that was good news.
It's always good news.
Always good news.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Tim. There's no resolutions for tonight. New business, got a review of the proposal submitted this is for the parcel at 4747 West 16th Street.
Yes.
What do we have on that?
All right. So we put out an RFP for 4747 West 16th Street. We refer to it as the triangle parcel, which is the parcel just to the west of the Speedway across from the track. Is intended to be overflow parking for the Wilshaw project. So following Indiana state law, we advertised it in two locations, 2 weeks or a week apart. I received confirmation of those publications and we did not receive any responses by the deadline, which was last Friday, the 14th. Therefore, since we had no responses, we're authorized, subject to the SRC's approval, to enter into negotiations to lease the real property located at 4747 West 16th Street, Speedway, Indiana, for parking to support the neighborhood development. So having no responses and having it publicly advertised, now we can there's no rejection, there's no acceptance of proposals, so we're able to negotiate at this point to get that developed for our needs.
Okay, I'll just ask the commission for concurrence to signify by aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
You have it.
All right.
Okay, is there any old business that needs to come before the commission
We
tonight?
had one more new business.
Okay.
The Speedway Redevelopment Commission has an appointment to the Community Development Corporation.
Mhm.
Jacob Blaisdell, our town manager, passed along somebody, I guess we've had a vacancy for some time, so passed along an application that he received and recommended this individual. His name is David Lang. He lives at 5020 West 15th Street in Speedway, and has filled out. He is he's a Butler University grad and an athletic director for Zionsville Community Schools for the last 4 years. Lived in Speedway the last 2 years, and his wife has lived here her whole life. They really enjoy watching the town thrive and look forward to serving any way they can. He has a passion for the housing, which is what makes him a good fit for the Community Development Corporation. So we're requesting the SRC make a motion to approve David Lang as our representative to Community Development Corp.
I'd like
Okay.
to move that David Lang be appointed by the SRC to the Community Development Corporation.
Got a motion, and you have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion and a second, is there any discussion? Sounds like a well-qualified individual.
Good.
Hearing none, I'll call for approval. Vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Carries 5-0. Welcome him aboard.
Will do.
I don't think they have as many meetings, but
Not recently.
they
but-
can get started now.
Yep.
Okay, anything else, Tim?
Nothing at this time.
Okay. I don't have anything else other than,
I'd like to commend one of our newer establishments on Main Street, Daredevil Brewery. They just swept the Indiana Brewers Cup recently. Had numerous of their beers that received gold medals. They also had silver medals, and their best in show was their German Pils. I think I was asked to commend our new business because I live closest, and I spend a lot of time down there. But it's also nice to stop there, have a beer, and then come back and stop at one of the restaurants to have dinner before we get home. So want to congratulate the Pearsons. They've made a tremendous investment in our community, moving in 2015. Michael and his partner and Shane.
Yeah.
Michael actually made an investment and purchased a home on 14th Street. So he's totally invested in the community of Speedway, and we're just really pleased to have that business here in town.
Awesome.
I think they're going to have that hops and flip-flops that's coming up.
Yeah, that's coming up in August. There are some VIP sales, I think, in advance. Gives you the opportunity to get into, the event. It's a nice festival, 25, 30 different brewers from around the region. And, on a nice, hot August day, it's not a bad idea to have a nice cold brew.
I want to thank Tim Gropp for, again, putting together a good month. Been quite a few of us off and had a lot of things going on. As always, summer's a tough time, and thanks for taking the load. And you know, a lot of meetings. I don't think people realize how many meetings this guy goes to and gets involved with. But it takes a lot to get to the point where you have a ribbon cutting or you have a sale of property, and keeps on adding to the AV that we started with. Just off the top of your head, do you know those numbers that you gave? You might just.
Yeah, we're trying to pull more data together so we can kind of tell our story a little bit better from what the Redevelopment Commission's been able to accomplish. And Tim Ramian has been working on looking back at old economic development agreements and IBJ articles to put some of those numbers. We haven't done a good job tracking it, so we need to do that moving forward. But just on Main Street alone, and these numbers will change as we continue to get some real numbers behind it, but there's been over $70 million of investment and around 350 new jobs created. So that's just on Main Street. And that's missing several projects that we're aware of that we haven't put the numbers to yet. So
Right.
A very significant impact on the redevelopment efforts.
And Wilshaw, we're looking at another, was it 150 jobs? I think
It was around 93 actually.
93.
Yeah.
And then a large investment too. So, everything adds up from that standpoint. If there's nothing else, I'm going to call for adjournment. It's 6:22. This meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have you guys